Okay, well, welcome back. And I'm Anne-Marie McManus, and I'm here in this video series to provide you timely, relevant, and important real estate information. And so in a previous video, a couple of weeks ago, I talked to you about the 7 questions that are very important to ask your real estate agent before you hire them. And today, I'm going to go ahead and answer those questions. So the question number 1 was, how long have you been in real estate? So I've been in real estate for 41 years now. And what that means to my sellers and buyers is that I've seen the ups and the downs. I've seen high interest rates, low interest rates. I know how to negotiate when the market's shifting. And these are all very important things. And that's why experience is very important when you're choosing an agent. The second question is, how many homes have you sold in your career and then during the current year? Over the course of my career, I've sold 2,400 homes. But it's, you also need to know that we're still selling at very high levels. And this year, we're on track to close 88. The reason that is important to you is you want to know there's a vast difference between somebody that sells 2 homes a year and even 25 homes a year, because you can feel the trends. You're super current. You've pretty much run across most everything that could happen. And you've had a lot of practice dealing with it. And that's the kind of agent you want. So number 3, what kind of educational background and what designations do you hold? So in the previous video, I talked about that low barrier to entry in real estate. Well, you deserve somebody who is focused entirely on real estate. So my background, I have a liberal arts degree. My father was in real estate since the 50s. So when I do remember when the interest rates were 18 to 21%, I am aging myself, but these things are important because you know that year in, year out, people are buying and selling houses, and you have to learn how to go get them, right? So in addition to their education background, you will also want to know that they have taken the time to better themselves by getting professional designations. For example, if somebody is a GRI, that means they're a graduate of the Realtors Institute. So they have to get 60 to 120 hours of education. And a lot of it is just baseline. You've got to take just like your core, and then you can specialize and take some other things. But that's a lot of work. And you want somebody that's well above average. And so you just look for those designations. CRS is another one. And so is the elite status with the Luxury Home Marketing Institute. So they're twofold important. One is the education. The second is that there's a production component of it. So a lot of people know a lot about things, but you want someone who's very practiced in doing those things. So that's why it's important to ask them. Question number 4. What is your company's market share in the area? The reason, again, that that's important is because you want a company that's working with lots of buyers. So depending on if you're looking in the Aiken market or the Augusta market, Maybaum Real Estate, my company's market share can be between 30 and at times 38%. That just helps because even when there's fewer buyers in the market, I think it's even more important because that company is going to have more buyers working with them. Number 5, I love this question because I'm a house person, but I love the numbers. The numbers are so important. So ask the person, what is their company's per agent productivity? And, a lot of people might not know it. They ought to say, hey, I'll get back to you and I'll let you know. But the reality is there are companies in Augusta, Georgia, where there are hundreds of agents, but the average agent only sells 2 houses. That's not the kind of agent you want. So I'm very proud that Maybaum has always had a very high per agent productivity. which means that they are going to know a lot about what's going on, and they're going to be surrounded by very active agents. So when there's changes, they've got people to talk to. They have a local broker. That's for another day. I'll talk about the importance of that. But do ask them. So our per agent productivity at the moment is like 10. But, when you extrapolate that, really, you have to think about that's everybody at Maybom. So every broker is licensed. We have a lot of brokers. A lot of our assistants are all licensed. So really, the per agent productivity in active selling agents isn't actually much higher than that. So at one time, Maybom Real Estate, I had, I think the per agent productivity was like 22. That was number 3 in the country for per agent productivity. So basically what they're striving for in our culture is every day that you should be producing at the highest level, right? And that you should be selling homes daily. So that's why it's one of my favorite questions. Question number 6 is, can you describe your business process and talk to me about how you're supported and what happens each step of the way? So you should ask your agent that, because it is a long way from when I started in real estate and the contract was 1 page and inspections were, just starting out. You want to know that they're backed up. So in my office, we have licensed people working on your behalf. The great thing is we're not just a big team of nebulous people that are, just going out there every day that don't know what they're doing. We each work very specific schedules. So I have a listing marketing coordinator, and he gets in there every day and he checks on everything. He's checking on how the pictures are sized. He's checking on that everything's correct. We check the square footage. Sometimes we'll have an appraiser check it ahead of time. He'll meet the photographer. All of these things, very, very important, very time consuming. And if I'm doing all of that, I can't be on the phone calling and finding a buyer for your house. So we also have a transaction coordinator, and she takes it from the time that there's a contract to the time that there is a closing. And she helps me keep everything straight. For example, if we find out that the condominium has a certain assessment, she can find that out beforehand if there's any issue, or a neighborhood association. So all of this is critical. I don't know that I've answered it very linear, but in person, call me up and I'll give you a piece of paper and we'll go over it and talk about who does what when. And that's very different from your average real estate agent. All right. So question number 7 is, do you track your customer service? How do you track it? And what do your customers say? I mean, I just think how important it is that you work with an agent who wants to be accountable. So our company has several different ways of tracking it. And they have a whole process, and they are very on top of customer service and give awards at the end of the year for that. We actually have 150 Google reviews. So it might be just shy of that. But when we have a transaction, we ask the people, what did you think? And would you mind leaving a review? The reviews are so important because it allows people to, I will have somebody say, my brother said to call you. I guarantee you, the brother said to call, but I bet you anything, the sister went to Google and she checked out our profile and made sure that we have good recommendations. So, that's why I feel like that's such an important question to ask. Okay, so those are the 7 questions that I've answered for you. And I know that we talked about last week the importance of asking these questions. And if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to call me.